The first iteration of college football's 12-team playoff format just came to a close, and we have to say, it was pretty mid. There were some quality matchups, but for the most part, a lot of the games we watched were severely imbalanced, especially in the first two rounds of the tournament. Now, if you're a fan of this channel, like and subscribe by the way, you know that we are not the biggest fans of the format overall, but whether we like it or not, it is here to stay. So strap in, folks. Today we are setting out on a voyage to do what we said could never be done, and that's fixing the 12-team format and the college football playoff system as a whole. In order to actually solve this issue, we have to face it with the parameters we've been given. So that means we have to fix the playoff while including auto bids, auto buys, and the best conference champions. These things were agreed upon by all conferences and set firmly in place going forward, so just throwing them away for the sake of the video would be a bit counterproductive. And for the first step of the operation, let's attack the auto bids. Here we have the current auto bid system. As you can see, the highest ranked conference champions get the 4 buys, and then the 5th gets locked into the first round. And this is actually a pretty simple fix in our eyes. What we do here is keep these auto bids, but move them to where they are most accurately ranked in the CFP poll. We know this may be unpopular. It might even feel like the value of conference championship games goes down by nature of this system, but spoiler alert, we'll be addressing the conference championships later in this video. And in this format, you'd still be rewarding teams similar to Boise State, Arizona State, and Clemson for winning their conferences. You just wouldn't necessarily be affording some of those teams instant buys that they don't deserve. And plus, conference championships are already kind of at rock bottom anyways.
Is this how you get your sick kicks?
What? It's just an ordinary Krabby. Oh my goodness!
Now that we've got the auto bids down, let's take a look at the auto buy system. The auto buys are a solid way at rewarding the best teams in the country for playing like the best teams in the country, so why would we not give the top 4 spots to the top 4 teams in the CFP poll? I mean, it really isn't rocket science, folks. This way you're accurately rewarding the best and most deserving teams in the country for playing well all year, while still allowing some of the lower ranked teams a chance to win their way through the playoff. Sound good to you? That's because it is. This is where we get a little radical in our approach, so if at any point what I'm saying makes you a bit uncomfortable, just remember to breathe and relax. It'll all be okay. We're getting rid of conference championship games.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
That's right, no more conference championship games. Instead, the winner of each conference will be decided by who finishes with the best conference record, with each team's overall record and head-to-head matchups serving as tiebreakers in those scenarios. So now you have your top 4 teams in place, and you've given your conference champions and the best G5 champion and into the playoff as well. What's next, you might ask? Well, I'm glad you asked, because now we have play-in games. These games would be decided between the subsequent teams in each conference based on conference record that have not already won their conference and have not already been included in the top 4 teams. That way, conferences like the SEC and the Big Ten would be rewarded for having multiple teams in the top 4, but would guarantee the other 2 conferences extra teams in the playoff as well. It's a win all around. It also takes a majority of the decisions away from the playoff committee, because instead of arguing between a deserving SMU and a talented Alabama, like we had to do this year, you now give SMU a well-deserved playoff spot while allowing a team like Alabama a shot to potentially make up for their previous losses. It's foolproof. Now, with all of that out of the way, let's take a look at our work. You've got the top 4 teams on a bye, which for the sake of it, we'll say were the top 4 teams from this past year in different order. We've got the remaining conference and G5 champion. You now have your hypothetical play-in winners, and then you've got one more at-large bid for either Notre Dame or the next highest ranked team who got left out of the playoff through the play-in or what have you. Now, you could leave it in this order, but what I would do from here is reseed these teams once we've narrowed down our crop. That way you know you're still matching up the remaining teams based on their regular season and play-in performances. Now, based on the results of this past postseason, we think the next round of this hypothetical format would have looked something like this. Now, I don't know about you, but all of these look like pretty amazing matchups to me. We still get Texas and Ohio State, Penn State and Notre Dame, but we don't have to wait and endure a week of mediocre games to get there. You also have a Game of the Year rematch in Georgia and Alabama, as well as an interesting Pac-12 throwback game in the mix too. Tons of interesting matchups to go around, something we couldn't say of the quarterfinals this past year, so we're already in pretty good shape. From there on out, the bracket ends up looking pretty similar to how it did this year, but with teams like Oregon and Georgia getting a chance to at least warm up before their biggest matchups of the year, and then you crown your national champion, but you end up mitigating a lot of those bad matchups in the first 2 rounds while maximizing the importance of playing well in the regular season. And that's it. With the format I've laid out, we now have the formula for the best imaginable 12-team playoff possible. There are a few other things we could talk about, like the time in between games that need to be solved, but even if you don't change anything else, you could easily fix that by just scheduling the games a week earlier. Crazy, right? We think so as well, and feel free to let us know what other moves could be made to improve the playoff down below so that you can join our lawsuit when the NCAA inevitably steals our idea and uses it without crediting us. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and as always, thank you for watching. Feel free to share it with your friends, your aunt, your uncle, whoever it may be. It helps us out a lot, and we will see you in the next one.